So, what I want to talk about today is this modern MGTOW, New Age, whatever you want to call it, this spiritual, this assertive philosophy which states, focus on yourself, fuck everybody else, and focus on yourself. Now, why do I have a problem with this? It is simple. Uh, it is obvious. The more you focus on yourself and disregard everything else, ergo, fuck everybody else, it's about me, 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 me. As you have noticed, probably, uh, in these modern times, people are governed by this one and only ubiquitous philosophy, which is me, 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 fuck everybody else. Which I have to tell you, you have to be principled, you have to have convictions, and you have to have integrity, and you have to be honest. And if you're honest, you can clearly tell that this is the mindset of a child. This me, 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 fuck everybody else. This is all about me. I have to focus on me. I have to get what's mine, right? And this is not meant to offend or insult anybody. This is just, let's call it constructive criticism. But, I've watched a decent amount of, MGTOW, red pillars, black pillars videos, and the major or the most popular of their philosophy is, this what I consider to be extremely juvenile, infantile, focus on yourself, fuck everybody else. This life is all about you, and then you can go beyond, and then you find out that they say, life is a video game. You gotta max out your stats. This is not true. Yet again, this is the mindset of a 5-year-old, right? And I have to say this, you know, other philosophies, like Eastern philosophies, like people thousands of years ago have realized that thinking too much about yourself, focusing too much on yourself alone, that is a big problem. That could cause a lot of trouble, not only for yourself, but to everybody around you. Now these were people thousands of years ago that have figured this out. You got Buddhism and Hinduism and all types of other religious slash philosophical ideas, which state that the ego is a poison, the ego is no good, and the more you place relevance and significance on it, uh, it can only go downhill from here. Okay? And if you've noticed, I like to analyze things, and make some criticisms, factual criticisms, and this is simple logic. This is simple common sense. And you only have to watch some of these videos, some of these people, and you can clearly see that there's some uh, psychopathic or sociopathic tendencies alongside, childish characteristics when it comes to the mindset, right? This type of, let's call it a type of meditation where you constantly just concentrate on yourself, it breeds a sort of mental illness. Now, I'm not saying that you should never think about yourself. I'm not saying that you should never consider your needs, etc., etc. I'm saying that these people have one philosophy: me, 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 fuck everybody else. The child mentality. This is how a child behaves in life before it, you know, before the consciousness, rises to the surface. A child is a semi animal, right? A child isn't conscious all the way, but an adult, on the other hand, should be more wise, more mature, etc. Right? It's not good to focus on yourself 24/7, because now, listen, this mentality, this philosophy is widespread now, and you can clearly say, you can clearly see that something has gone awry, has gone amiss, when the sole rewards or the sole prizes or the sole achievements that these people seem to gravitate towards are, materialistic things. Materialistic things. Two, of course, there's nothing wrong with having money and so on. I'm just saying that their single goal is, money, status, bigger cars, bigger houses, you know, label clothes, etc. It doesn't matter what it is. It is materialistic, and it serves only one purpose, unfortunately, which the Easterners have figured out thousands of years ago, which materialistic things are only here to boost the ego. And the ego just eats that shit up. Okay, it just eats that shit up. When you have a bloated, swollen, inflated ego, something really peculiar happens, where you, for the most part, lack self-awareness, right? And you begin to imagine that you are better than everybody else. You imagine that you are the cream of the crop. You imagine that you are the exception to the rule. And yet again, I have to repeat myself. If you have noticed, now there is this new age hippy dippy mumbo jumbo, which some of these gurus, in every video they start to say, everybody is a god, everybody is, the hero in their own movie, etc., 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 trying to tickle the ego just right, right? And of course, these are followed with, of course, the classic focus on yourself, follow your dreams, pursue your goals, get what's yours, bro. And there's nothing wrong with that if you keep it at bay. But this has been, underlined to the highest extremes, where only this is the sole thing that people pursue and seek out. There's nothing else, right? There's absolutely nothing else. Then get yours, get your money, get your bitches, get what's yours. And I have to tell you, yet again, this is a childish mentality. If you look at nature closely, you can clearly tell that nothing belongs to anybody. So, ergo, there's nothing that's yours, all right? That doesn't mean that you should not, get a meal, etc., etc. But I'm saying that this sort of philosophy creates a self-entitlement that, yet again, uh, that borders mental illness. Unfortunately, this philosophy, which has good points, okay, it has positives, it has positive things that can help you, but now it borders on mental illness, which is unfortunate, because now we have adults, men and women, who behave as if they're still children, 5-year olds, and they think that, all of the toys, these toys are theirs, and oh boy, they're gonna get them all. They're gonna collect them all, and they're gonna become high status men and high status or high value women, and everybody else at that point, they're gonna, be so jealous, and they're gonna admire you, and etc., etc. Yet again, for the most part, this is a mental illness. This is a illusion. This is a delusion, and you need to wake up immediately. Yet again, I have to repeat myself. People like Easterners and others, thousands of years ago, have realized that material things, material wealth, objects, They do not make you happy. They do not make you whole. They cannot fill the void inside. They cannot plug the hole where the heart should be. You know, the nothingness will still be there. And yes, you're gonna get a high from getting a new car or having fangirls or whatever. Okay? But this will not last. And therefore, of course, this is an endless cycle. And therefore, you're gonna have to chase another thrill, another high. You're gonna have to make more money. You're gonna have to buy new shit. You're gonna have to make more money. Gonna have to make more money. Gonna have to buy shit. And again and again and again, this will never end for you. Okay? This will never end for you. This is a endless cycle that is unhealthy. I mean, thousands of years ago, people have figured out, listen, the only reason you should meditate is to detach yourself, from your ego. You should not focus that much on yourself because it can become a serious issue, right? You can unconsciously put blinders on. You will unconsciously box yourself in this little bubble, and therefore you will imagine, just because you have accomplished some goals or you have attained something, therefore you will imagine that you are, oh boy, you are a bit unique and exotic and etc., etc. You know what I'm talking about. There are hundreds and thousands of these videos with these motivational speakers and these self-appointed, you know, gurus whose only, listen, this is the bare essential, the fundamentals of their philosophy. Existence is all about you, so you have to get yours, focus on yourself, and, you know, work out, etc., etc. And they imagine then this can save you from the abyss, the void, you know, despair, and so on. You can postpone it with these things, pursuing these things, but despair will nonetheless, you know, show its ugly head. It is inevitable. Inevitable. And I have to make this criticism when it comes to this Western philosophy, which is, of course, extremely childish. Because listen, their sole reasoning, motivation is, it's all about me, I have to focus on myself, fuck everybody else. This is a simple-minded philosophy. This is a childish, self-entitled philosophy. Because, listen, yet again, thousands of years ago, people have realized that you cannot box yourself in, that the greatest thing a person can do is be selfless, altruistic, which means that instead of being a simple-minded child, going about your day thinking me, they've realized that maybe the alternative is that maybe you should help other people instead of just focusing on yourself. And I mean really helping people that are in need, not just talking about it, right? I'm gonna, you know, lift myself up to be a high value man, and oh boy, let me tell you, when I'm gonna be a high value man, I'm gonna help people with one-on-one sessions, and I'm gonna charge hundreds of dollars. You know, that's not gonna help anybody. Back to it. So a long time ago, the real thinkers, you know, and the real empaths of the ancient world, they figured out that to really, you know, push back despair and to give yourself the sense of having a real purpose is to help those around you focus on the people around you, not just on yourself. Okay, because that is extremely selfish, and most of all, that is extremely immature. It's all about me. Me. No, it's not about you. It's not about me. Actually, it's not about any of us, right? But that's a story for another day, right? So I think the best thing for your mental health is don't focus so much on yourself, right? It's not healthy. It's not good for you, right? Why do you think Western society is just going down the toilet at an even faster rate? It's going downhill. It's going down the toilet. Why? Because everybody's focusing on themselves. Nobody's talking to anybody, and when they're talking to each other, they only babble stupid artificial nonsense, right? 2 points. A real alpha, gentlemen, a real alpha is not concerned with himself. He is secure and confident in himself. A real alpha is a sort of leader of the pack, but the real alpha is concerned with the well-being of others. A real alpha sees all of the lackings in other people of his tribe, and he will put them first. And he will strive to lift them up, to elevate them to his level or even above his level. That is what a real alpha is. A real alpha isn't this, this little boy going around, it's all about me, 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 fuck everybody else. No, that is the mindset of a child. Okay, a real alpha is looking around. Okay, we're lacking here, we're lacking there. This guy needs help. She isn't having a good time. I'm gonna have to do something about it. I'm gonna help these people. Right? That is that is the definition of a real alpha. Moving on. Here is how a tribe works. Everybody helps everybody else. Everybody is concerned and worried about everybody else, and everybody wants to help everybody else. Okay? That is how a tribe survives. A tribe does not survive with everybody doing their own thing and just focusing on themselves and everybody being, separate from everybody else. Right? Can you imagine a tribe where every member is going like, it's all about me. I need to focus on me. No, it's about the tribe, bro. And that is why Western modern society is falling apart from the seams. Okay? Any city in the Western front is falling apart. It is on the brink of collapse because hundreds of millions of people are all by themselves, focusing on themselves in their own heads, rejecting, negating, and refusing to engage with anybody else. Because the mentality of Western society is me, 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 fuck everybody else, I'm an alpha, I'm a high value this or that. You see, that is why society is falling apart. It's everybody's fault. And this needs to be addressed and confessed and so on. So in conclusion, should you focus so much on yourself? I adamantly am against this. You should not be in your head 24/7 thinking, what's best for me? This me, 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 me. I'm great. I'm this. I'm that. I gotta go do this. I gotta do this because people, oh boy, people just cannot wait for me to tell them this, or you know what I'm saying? You need to detach yourself from yourself. Stop being in your head all the time. Life is not a TV show. You're not the protagonist. All of your suffering is because you refuse to be indifferent. You refuse to be detached, especially from yourself. Especially from yourself. Because for most people, all they have is themselves. That is obvious to me. Because to me, most people are unable, incapable, impotent to relate to anybody else. They cannot communicate for real with anybody else. They cannot share an emotion, a feeling. It is all synthetic. It is all artificial. It is all play acting and role playing and pretending. You see, this is what happens when your entire existence revolves around yourself. Me, 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 me. And listen, because you focus so much on yourself, and because you are only concerned with only your needs, you become a sort of semi-animal who is pursuing the satisfaction of its primal urges. That is what most people are today who focus on themselves. It's all about me, it's all about my needs. I have to satisfy them in any way possible. This is how an animal lives in nature. An animal is an opportunist. An animal sees something, it must eat, it must drink water, it must breed, it must sleep, it must reproduce, and then it will die. And before it will die, it will seek out opportunities to placate its urges. Okay? And human beings should not be this. Human beings should aspire, to higher ideals. Okay? And people still to this day behave like they're semi-animals trying to satisfy their urges. Materialistic things, being a high value, this or that will not solve anything, will not fill any void within you. Nothing external will ever satisfy you. You have to go within, and that is where you will find the truth. Okay? Because in society today, people imagine that things will solve everything. I mean, listen, I'm not gonna give any names, but I've watched a couple of videos lately with these people that are, famous for whatever reason in this Giga Chad, whatever community, whatever, right? And this guy was talking, oh, I used to be depressed. I used to be sad all the time. I used to be down on myself, suicidal. And then he said, you gotta work out. You gotta hit the gym, and everything will be fine. Listen, nothing in life can be solved this easily, especially something so delicate and intricate as, having a mental imbalance or a chemical imbalance. You're sad, you're suicidal, work out, hit the gym. That's not gonna solve anything. That is just another postponement. That is just another band-aid on your heart. It will not solve anything in the long run. And another thing that I like to call them clowns and buffoons, because of course they're purely based in materialism, capitalism, get as much shit as you possibly can. But in one of these videos, they were talking and they were saying, what's your side hustle? What's your side hustle? You gotta make you gotta have a side hustle to make, side money on the side. And my question is, whatever for? Whatever for? Like, how much will be enough? Like, what are you gonna do with all of this money? Right? I've made a couple of videos before where I said if I got $1 million, I would not spend a penny because I don't want anything. I don't want anything anymore. Because I've realized that no amount will solve anything. Buy whatever you want. It will not solve anything. Right? Okay? And their best idea, their best solution, their best option to all of the negative aspects of existence, of human existence, discontent, disillusionment, disenchantment. Their best solution is, well, you gotta have a side hustle. A side hustle. Make more money on the side. You see, your time has to be used to make more money, and you have to be a sort of robot, a sort of automaton, no matter what you get in this world. If you are a conscious, conscientious, honest human being, you should have realized this a long time ago, right? A long time ago. So, in conclusion, should you focus on yourself with such intensity all the time for the remainder of your life? And my simple answer is absolutely no. Absolutely no. People a long time ago have figured out that if you are too in love with yourself, if you're too in love with yourself, and if you put yourself on a pedestal, that is the perfect ingredient that will spell disaster, not only for yourself, but for other people around you. Okay? Because let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with being motivated. There's nothing wrong with having determination and resolve. But, like George Carlin said, the reason why everything is falling apart, the reason why life is a shit show today, is because we have a lot of highly motivated people who only think about themselves. We need less motivated people out here. You know, show me somebody that's just minding his or her own business, sitting in bed doing nothing, and I'll show you a person that's not hurting anybody. On the other side, we have a lot of highly motivated people that will do almost anything to get theirs, right? And that is why there is a lot of pain and suffering and torture and agony in this world. So I would suggest, take it easy, relax. All of this is not that serious. Don't focus so much on yourself, because that is probably the worst thing that you can do in this life. Thanks for watching.